Welcome to New Year Protocol, a green blockchain to register and sell your products without harming the environment. This is Karma Podcast.
Hi, I'm Livia Lima. I'm an astrologer from Brazil, and I'm here to talk about surrender. Imagine that we all have a path that will lead us to a place of happiness, tranquility, peace. But we don't know how to go to this place, and we don't even know what path is this. Imagine that we are fishes swimming in a river. Some of us are swimming against the flow. The path is going with the flow, knowing that there will be some difficulties, some driftwoods that we must accept that they come, but they go. We can handle all the difficulties, and we have to know that they will come, but we must accept that they are needed so we can go to the other place. We can go to this place of happiness that is our path. It's where we really can be ourselves. When we are in difficulty situations, when we are in a bad relationship, when we are in a bad job, when people around us makes us angry, we have a part of ourselves that know that we want to get out of that. We don't want to keep doing those things. We don't want to keep being on these relationships. We don't want to keep doing this boring and senseless jobs and tasks. And we know deep down that these things are not leading us to a good place. Most of us are really attached to difficult situations because it's our normal. It's our comfort zone. Even though it's bad, it's the only thing we know. We don't have this knowledge of how things can be if they're different. Surrendering is accepting that difficulties will come, but we have to surrender to the unknown, the opposite side. As an astrologer, I see things in a different way. I know we all come from a place. We all have our background. We all have our history. And we are all attached to this thing. We are all attached to these behaviors. We had to develop these behaviors. We have to be a certain way to survive our lives, to survive our family. And we have this way of acting that we had to develop when we were really young. And as we grow up, we keep having these behaviors that we developed when we were a child, and they were useful back then, but they're not useful now that we are all grown-ups, adults. And most of the people don't see how those type of behaviors are bad for us, bad for them, and bad for everyone else. Because sometimes we have to be good, our families demand us to be good and to be, the good girl, the good boy, and we put everyone above ourselves, and we never see how we are the person that actually really matters in our lives. And we keep putting everyone first, and we are always the last one. If we had a movie of our lives, we wouldn't be protagonists of our movies. And this is ridiculous, right? So we have to see that when we have these behaviors, like why do I have to be the good girl every time? Why do I have to be the good boy? Why do I have to be like perfect? Because our family demanded us that. But who are demanding that now? Why do we have to have these behaviors now? When we understand that, we see that, well, I'm not being myself. I've never been myself because I was being the child that I had to be, but now I'm grown up. When we have this click, when we understand that, it's easier to see, to realize how we go to this place of happiness. It's when we see the north that we have to go, but most of us are very attached to those behaviors. Most of us are really attached to these feelings: insecurity, anxiety, fear, anger, and we don't know how to believe in ourselves and how to be ourselves. But life really makes everything happen, and when we fight it, things get really hard. It's easier when we don't fight life. And I'm not talking about tragedies here, being thankful for tragedies. It's not about that. It's like knowing that things happen and they are happening for a reason. Changes happen. If you see a situation repeating over and over and over, there's something about that you're not seeing. You're not learning something about that. And if you're having the same reaction to these situations that is repeating itself, maybe it's the time to realize why you're having this reaction, and maybe it's time to have a different reaction. It's like you're always finding bad jobs, and in those jobs the boss is always a bad person and they keep treating you bad, and you're always accepting everything, and then you get fired for no reason. Why you're always accepting these bad jobs with those bad bosses and ending up being fired? Maybe if you try, I'm not saying it's the only thing you have to do, I'm just giving an example. Maybe if you try to find what's a good job for you, maybe finding out what do you really like to do. I know we are in a time where we're not able to choose jobs, but sometimes we have to really look inside and see what we really like to do. And when we know that, for me it was astrology, we know that things get easier. Sometimes we can't change and leave our old bad jobs, but maybe we can start taking a little step to this thing that will make us happy. If you're like me and you like astrology, and this is the thing that makes your life filled with joy, that makes your life with a little sense, or with all the sense, it makes sense, then maybe you can keep your old job and start studying astrology. That's what happened with me and with a lot of people that I know. And if you're in a bad relationship all the time, if you have abusive partners, why are you keeping attracting those people? Why are they always here? The thing is, you have to change. You have to learn with life what life is trying to teach you. If they are sending you horrible people, horrible partners, something's wrong. You have to change the way you react to situations. That's surrendering to change. You have to really change, because you can't change the world. You can only change yourself. You can only change the way you react to situations, the way you stop repeating situations, the way you change your behaviors. When you stop acting like the child who had to be, but start acting like an adult who knows yourself. You have to go inside, because the growth comes from inside. It's not from outside. The outside is just a stimulus to the change to occur. You have to know that there must be change. The only thing that we know is that everything changes all the time. Everything has an end, and keep avoiding these changes is what makes our path away from us. This happy place that I'm talking about is away, because we keep swimming against the flow. When life presents these changes, we can only accept it. Sometimes changes are really, really hard, but they are necessary. Everything has to end at some point. We all die. Everything dies. Relationships, jobs, friendships, TV shows. Everything ends. But with every ending, there's a new beginning. And we have to know that beginnings are good, and that what would you do if I tell you that if you had to find happiness, you would have to swim in mud, dirty mud and stinky mud? Would you go? If you know that your life would be perfect after that. That's it. That's surrendering. That's when you accept the bad things, that you go to a better place. you will find your meaning. That's it. Just swimming. Just keep swimming with the flow. Don't go against the flow. Just be happy. That's what I want for all of you.
This was Karma Podcast, sponsored by Spiritual DAO on Near Blockchain. Stay tuned for the next episodes.